Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
You guys did a really good job of drawing these faces. I'm Janine Merrick. I'm a teacher, retired teacher, 26 years at the junior high level, which means I taught everything under the sun. And I love art. I've loved it since I was in second grade. And I think I told you all that story about being picked as the only second grader to work on the mural in the wall at school. And the rest of them were fifth and sixth graders. Anyway, I have loved art. I have always dawdled and played around with drawing and things. And when the kids were growing up, I painted down in the basement in a little corner. And after the kids all got in school, at Richard's encouragement, I went back to school and got my education degree. And I taught for 26 years. And I loved most every minute. Last week, their homework assignment was to take half a face and reproduce it by drawing and shading on the other side of the paper. And Danny did that. She's got two different people here. And if you look at it, you can see how different they are. And you'd be surprised. You all have different sides of your face. And as I mentioned earlier to some of you, Brian Williams, who's on NBC, I believe, Nightly News is the anchor, has one of the most interesting faces for that. If you get a chance to look at him sometime, tune him in and look at him. Try and block half his face and see how different one side of his face is to the other. He's a very handsome man, but he has distinctly different features on each side of his face. And each one of you do too. If you stopped and looked at it, blot it out, or take a picture of yourself and blot it out and look and see how different your face is from one side to the other. I love art, all phases of it. My favorite work myself is right now watercolor, but I like drawing. I have done a lot of things because I taught. And when you're a teacher, you have to be a jack of all trades. I have a lot of friends in our community up here, and at various times something will come up about a drawing problem or a drawing question. We critique each other very, very kindly, constructively. And last year I was asked to teach a class through the public library from the Heritage Foundation funding that's new in the state. And so I taught a 5-week class, and when some of my friends heard that I was teaching it, they said, "Oh, I wish I'd taken it." And I said, well, I can do another one, an abbreviated class, and that's what we're doing here. It is important for people to learn about art, to know art, to see it, to use it in their lives, because it broadens them. Even in teaching, we've learned that you incorporate art into a lot of disciplines, and it adds to the understanding of students. It adds to the understanding of adults. It enriches their lives. This class was an abbreviated class. There were 3 sessions, 2.5 hours long. The first one was mostly related to shapes, basic shapes, shading, light, cast light. The second session was doing faces, portraits, line drawing, using line to express motion, using line to express volume. And then this last one was by request that I dwell on perspective, because so many painters don't have an understanding of what perspective is. And if you don't, you can really louse up a beautiful painting by having the shingles going the wrong direction. All right, now for the top roof, this is where people run into some problems. This is just going to be one of those post-World War II houses, you know, the little square boxes they built so many of. Okay, the roof peak. Decide how tall you're going to make it, and then from the top, you draw to the closest corner. where you are. Okay, you're going to draw a line here. That's equal to this line right here. And it goes no higher than your dotted line and no lower than your dotted line. Being part of groups, and this upper Midwest, upper Minnesota Lakes area is so rich with the arts. We have music of all kinds. We have dance. We have theater, several different theaters. Just in this area, a Region 2 Arts Council area up here. We have several small painting groups. We have large painting groups. It's a good way for people to interconnect. It's a nice thing to do when you've retired. You get to express yourself and you get to do things with other people of like interests. If art wasn't taught in school, kids would really miss a facet of enrichment in their education. If it wasn't taught in school, there would be a real lack. Some kids can only express themselves through drawing and through the visual. Others can do it verbally, but not everybody. And so drawing, or art, not just drawing, but art is really important to incorporate in a lot of ways. In social studies, through the cultures of various nations, and through math, tessellating and doing neat things with moving spaces and things around. There's just all kinds of ways that art enriches all the other curricula. Our new gallery, the Blank Canvas Gallery, is aimed at that thing, at that perspective. We have classes for young people, we have classes for adults, we have lectures and appreciation type situations, we have hands-on. I think just being part of it, get out there and get your hands dirty and try it. Don't be discouraged by the tumult on Main Street in Park Rapids. We're getting new sewers and new water and gearing up for the 21st century. So if you have to come in the back door, it's always open when we're open. If you come in the front door, you can get there on the boardwalk until the new sidewalks get put in. We are a very friendly group and we're here for the community. We want to spread our passion. I get such a high out of teaching. It's a passion. I love art and I like people to understand it. I like people to know why I love it and I want them to learn a love of it.
If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.